All right, so we're diving into Demon Slayer territory again, and this time we're going deep, really deep on Muzan Kibutsuji.
Ah, Muzan. He's a character that invites a lot of speculation, even amongst demon enthusiasts.
He really does. And there are a lot of myths and misconceptions surrounding him, even among hardcore fans. So today, we're here to try to separate fact from fiction.
I like it. Myth-busting Muzan.
Exactly. So let's just jump right in. One of the biggest myths, and it's understandable why people think this, is that Muzan is basically an immortal god.
Right.
I mean, the guy regenerates from practically anything. He's been kicking around for centuries, and he can create other demons.
Yeah, it's easy to see why people would reach that conclusion. He certainly cultivates that image, and frankly, who wants to go fact-checking a demon lord? But there is one glaring chink in that immortal god armor.
Oh, you mean?
Sunlight. That's
Yeah.
right. The most basic, fundamental force of nature, and it's his Achilles heel. For a being who otherwise seems invincible, this very simple vulnerability is fascinating.
It really is. It makes you wonder, what does it say about Muzan, about power itself, that he can be felled by something as pure and life-giving as sunlight?
Right. It challenges those assumptions about power being solely about brute force or domination.
Exactly. And that actually ties into another big misconception about Muzan. A lot of people believe he's the original source of all demons, that he's the puppet master controlling every string.
He certainly likes to give that impression. And yeah, he has turned a lot of humans into demons. But there's at least one very significant outlier. Tamayo.
Hmm.
She broke free of his influence, carved her own path. So how does that fit into the whole Muzan as the source of all demons narrative?
Right. If he can lose control of one demon, what's to stop others from breaking free? It really adds another layer of complexity to his character and his hold on power.
Precisely.
Speaking of things that can challenge Muzan's power, let's talk about the Nichiren blades. There's this rumor floating around, even among demons, that Muzan's completely immune to them. What's the truth there?
Well, it's a nice thought if you're a demon, right? I mean, imagine thinking your greatest enemy's weapon is useless against your leader. The reality is a bit more, shall we say, complicated. Are the Nichiren blades a problem for Muzan? Absolutely. He's incredibly resilient, but they can hurt him. And when you combine those blades with sunlight,
Oh, yeah, that's a bad day for Muzan.
you could say that again, especially when you factor in techniques like the breath of the sun, which is essentially harnessing solar energy. It's not a coincidence that Muzan is so fixated on wiping out the Demon Slayer core.
Right. It's like this group of humans armed with special swords and centuries of training are his biggest fear. Which I guess makes sense, considering they're the only ones who've actually managed to put a dent in his plans for, world domination.
Exactly. And that brings us to another point. This idea that Muzan is playing 4D chess, that his grasp on the future is absolute.
And he does seem to believe that, doesn't he? Like, eliminate the Demon Slayer core, and he's home free to rule forever.
Right, right. But there's a flaw in that logic, a blind spot. He underestimates humanity. He fixates on power as dominance, as control. What he fails to understand, what ultimately leads to his downfall, is the power of resilience, of unwavering spirit. He can't comprehend why these humans, these demon slayers, continue to fight generation after generation, even when facing impossible odds.
Because it's not just about brute force, it's about something more. And it's that something more, that unwavering spirit, that ultimately brings him down.
Exactly.
It's interesting to think about other myths about power in fiction and in real life that crumble when we look a little closer. What are some that stand out to you?
That's a great question. I think we often buy into these narratives about powerful people or institutions, attributing almost mythical qualities to them. But what we often find is that true strength, true resilience, often lies in the most unexpected places, in the people we least expect to rise to the challenge. And that, I think, is a powerful message.
It really is. Well, on that note, I think we've done a pretty good job unpacking some of the myths surrounding Muzan.
Indeed. He might be shrouded in darkness and mystery, but even the most powerful figures have their weaknesses. It's often in those vulnerabilities that we find the most compelling stories.
Well said. And for everyone listening, keep questioning those myths, keep looking deeper, and you might be surprised by what you discover. Until next time.